Welcome, friend. Tonight, we walk a quiet path together beneath the silver moon. The day has ended, its noise has faded, its demands have dissolved into memory. You are here now, resting in the soft embrace of this present moment. Let your body settle deeper into the bed beneath you. Feel its gentle support. The pillow cradles your head like a cloud holds the last light of evening. Your shoulders can release their burden now. They have carried enough today. Let them drop, slowly, like leaves drifting from an autumn branch. Your hands rest open, soft, empty of all the things they reach for. There is nothing more to hold, nothing more to grasp or protect. The breath moves in and out, effortless, like tide water kissing the shore. You do not need to guide it. It knows its own ancient rhythm. Somewhere in the distance, a temple bell rings once, then fades into silence. That silence is your invitation. Step through its doorway now, gently. Tonight, I will share with you stories from a time long ago. They come from mountain monasteries and forest hermitages, from teachers who spoke softly. These tales have travelled through centuries, passed from heart to quiet heart. They ask nothing of you except your willingness to listen and rest. You do not need to remember them. You do not need to understand. Simply let the words move through you like wind through an open window. Whatever peace they carry will settle into you naturally, without effort. The room around you grows dim. Perhaps a candle flickers somewhere nearby. Its light dances gently on the walls, casting shadows that breathe with you. Outside, the world continues its turning, but you are held here, safe. Rain may be falling somewhere tonight, hushing the earth into slumber. Or perhaps the stars are scattered across the sky like scattered seeds of light. It does not matter which. Both are perfect. Both belong to this moment. You belong to this moment too. You always have, though you may forget. Peace is not something we must create. It is what remains when we stop struggling. It has been here all along, waiting beneath the surface of your busy mind. Tonight, we will uncover it together, one breath, one story at a time. Close your eyes if they are not already closed. Let darkness become comfort. In the darkness, there is nothing to see, nothing to figure out. There is only this breath, this moment, this gentle voice guiding you inward. Long ago, in a monastery nestled among pine-covered mountains, there lived a calligrapher. He had spent 60 years perfecting his art, his brushstrokes known throughout the land. Nobles and scholars travelled great distances to watch him paint a single character. His hand moved with such grace that viewers often wept at its beauty. But as the years passed, a shadow fell across the old master's vision. His eyes began to cloud, slowly, like morning mist settling over a valley. First, he could no longer see the distant peaks from his window. Then the faces of his students blurred into soft shapes without features. Finally, even the paper before him became a field of hazy white. The calligrapher sat in his studio, brush in hand, staring at nothing. For weeks he did not paint. He could not see where to place the ink. His students whispered among themselves, wondering if the master's gift had ended. Some suggested he retire to a quiet life of meditation and rest. Others brought him thick ink and coarse paper, hoping to help him continue. But the calligrapher only sat, silent, his brush held loosely in his fingers. One evening, as autumn rain tapped gently against the wooden shutters, something shifted. The master rose from his cushion and walked slowly to his painting table. He could not see the paper, he could not see the inkstone, yet his hand found the brush as it had 10,000 times before. He dipped it into the ink, feeling the weight, the texture, the coolness. Then, without hesitation, he brought the brush down and began to paint. His strokes were not careful. They were not measured or precisely planned. They flowed from somewhere deeper than his eyes had ever reached before. When he finished, he set down the brush and called for his youngest student. The student entered and stopped at the threshold, his breath caught in his chest. On the paper before him was the most beautiful character he had ever seen. It was the word for peace, rendered in ink that seemed to breathe. Each stroke carried the weight of a lifetime, yet floated like morning clouds. The student knelt before the painting, tears falling silently down his face. The master could not see his student's tears. He did not need to. He simply nodded and returned to his cushion by the window. From that day forward, the blind calligrapher painted his finest works. Without sight, he discovered a vision that had always lived within him. He no longer needed to see the paper to know where beauty waited. He no longer needed to control each stroke to find its perfect form. He had learned what he had been teaching others all his life. True mastery comes not from grasping, but from releasing the need to grasp. When we stop trying to control the outcome finds its own perfection. The calligrapher painted for 7 more years, his works treasured beyond measure. When he finally set down his brush for the last time, he smiled. He had seen more clearly in blindness than he ever had with sight. Let that story settle into you now, like ink sinking into soft paper. You do not need to analyze its meaning. You do not need to remember. Simply let it rest somewhere quiet within you, doing its gentle work. Perhaps you recognize something in the calligrapher's journey, some echo of your own. We all cling to things we believe we cannot live without. We hold tightly to our way of seeing, our way of understanding the world. But sometimes life asks us to release what we have always depended upon. It asks us to trust in something we cannot see or control. This is not a punishment. It is an invitation to discover new depth. When one door closes, another opens, but only if we stop pushing. The calligrapher found his greatest art when he stopped trying to see it. He found peace when he surrendered his need to control every brushstroke. Perhaps tonight, you too can release something you have been holding too tightly. It might be a worry that has followed you through the day. It might be a hope that has not yet come to pass. It might be a memory that still carries the sting of old hurt. Whatever it is, you can set it down now, just for tonight. You do not have to solve it. You do not have to fix it. You can simply let it rest beside you while you rest yourself. The breath continues its gentle rhythm, in and out, without your guidance. Notice how effortlessly the body breathes when you do not interfere. This is the wisdom of surrender. This is the peace of letting go. Peace is not something we create. It is what remains when we stop struggling. In another time, in another monastery far to the south, there lived a temple cat. She was not a special cat by any ordinary measure of such things. Her fur was patched with orange and white, worn thin in places. One ear had been torn in some long-forgotten encounter with the world. She walked with a slight limp, a reminder of harder days now past. Yet the monks of this temple treated her with extraordinary reverence and care. They saved the best portions of their simple meals to offer her. They bowed slightly when she passed, as if she were a visiting teacher. New monks, arriving from distant provinces, found this behaviour puzzling and strange. One young monk, barely 20 years old, finally gathered courage to ask. He approached the abbot one morning as autumn leaves fell in the courtyard. "Why do we honour this ordinary cat as if she were a master?" The abbot smiled, his weathered face creasing into familiar lines of kindness. He gestured for the young monk to sit beside him on the wooden steps. "Many years ago," he began, "this monastery was consumed by a great fire. It started in the kitchen, where a careless flame met dry timber. Within moments, the entire building was engulfed in roaring, hungry flames. The monks rushed to save what they could, but the fire was merciless. The library, containing centuries of precious sutras, stood directly in its path. Scrolls that had taken lifetimes to copy, teachings passed down through generations. The monks formed a chain, passing buckets of water from the well. But their efforts were like throwing tears at the sun, hopeless and small. One old monk refused to give up. He had spent his life in that library. He ran into the burning building, determined to save what he could carry. The other monks called out for him to stop, but he did not listen. He disappeared into the smoke and flames and did not emerge again. The young monk listening to this story felt his heart grow heavy. What happened to him? He asked, though he already knew the answer. The abbot nodded slowly, his eyes gazing at something far away and long ago. He perished in the fire, along with nearly every scroll in the library. The monastery was reduced to ashes. Only the stone foundation remained standing. For 3 days, the surviving monks sat among the ruins, lost in grief. They had lost their home, their teacher, their sacred texts, their purpose. Some spoke of abandoning the monastery altogether, of scattering to the winds. Others sat in silent despair, unable to imagine how to begin again. On the 4th morning, something extraordinary happened in the quiet of dawn. A small cat emerged from the ruins, walking carefully through the ash. In her mouth, she carried a single scroll, somehow unburned and whole. She walked directly to the abbot and set the scroll at his feet. Then she sat down, looked up at him, and began to clean her paws. The monks gathered around, staring at this impossible gift in disbelief. The scroll was the Heart Sutra, the essence of all Buddhist teaching. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form, the words that contain everything. The abbot unrolled the scroll and read its familiar verses aloud. As he read, something shifted in the hearts of the grieving monks. They understood, perhaps for the first time, what the words truly meant. Everything they had lost was form, and form is already emptiness. The library, the scrolls, even their beloved teacher, all were temporary manifestations. The truth contained in those teachings could never be destroyed by fire. It lived in their hearts, in their practice, in their very breathing. The monastery could be rebuilt. The sutras could be copied anew. But more importantly, the monks realized that nothing essential had been lost. The cat had shown them this by saving the only scroll they truly needed. From that day forward, she was honored as a living bodhisattva, an enlightened being. She lived for 19 more years, wandering freely through the rebuilt monastery, and when she finally passed, the monks buried her beneath the cherry tree. A small stone marks the place where she rests, inscribed with simple words, she who saved what cannot be saved, she who taught without speaking. The young monk sat in silence, letting this story find its place within him. He looked out at the courtyard where the current temple cat was sleeping. She was not the original cat, of course. That was many generations past. But the monks continued to honour each temple cat as her descendant, not because they believed she carried any special power or blessing, but because she reminded them of what the fire had truly taught. Everything we cling to will eventually turn to ash and memory, but the essence, the truth, the heart of things that can never burn. When we lose what we love, we are given a chance to discover this. The loss is real, the grief is real. We do not deny or minimize it, but within the loss, a deeper truth waits patiently to be recognized. We are not our possessions. We are not our accomplishments or failures. We are not even our memories, precious as they may be to us. We are the awareness that witnesses all these things come and go. We are the sky through which the clouds of experience pass and dissolve. The fire cannot touch the sky. The ash cannot bury what was never solid. Let this story settle into you now, like ash returning to the earth. You have lost things in your life. Everyone has. It is the human way. Perhaps you are still grieving something lost, still holding tight to memory. That is natural. That is love expressing itself through longing and sorrow. But tonight, perhaps you can hold that grief a little more gently. Perhaps you can let it rest, knowing that what was truly precious remains. It remains in you, in the way the loss has shaped your heart. It remains in the love that still lives, even when its object has gone. Nothing real can be destroyed. Nothing essential can be taken from you. This is not a denial of pain. This is the truth that holds the pain. Peace is not something we create. It is what remains when we stop struggling. The breath continues its gentle journey, carrying you deeper into rest. Notice how the body has softened since we began this quiet walk together. The muscles of your face have released their habitual tension and holding. Your jaw has unclenched, your brow has smoothed, your shoulders have fallen. Even the small muscles around your eyes have let go of their effort. There is nothing to watch for now, nothing to be vigilant against. The night holds you as the ocean holds a single drop of rain. You are part of something vast and peaceful, something beyond worry or fear. Where in your life do you hold on too tightly, as the calligrapher once did? What fire has touched your life, asking you to find what cannot burn? You do not need to answer these questions. They are not tests or demands. They are simply invitations, soft knocks on the door of your deeper knowing. The answers, if they come, will arrive in their own time and way. Perhaps in a dream tonight, perhaps in a quiet moment tomorrow, perhaps years from now, when the question has been long forgotten. Trust in this process. Trust in the wisdom that lives beneath your thoughts. It has been guiding you all along, even when you did not notice. It will continue to guide you, whether you are awake or deeply asleep. For now, simply rest, simply breathe, simply let the night be night. In the mountains of the east, there once stood a monastery known for its garden. It was said that this garden contained every type of beauty known to nature. Cherry trees wept pink blossoms over winding paths of white gravel. Moss covered ancient stones with a green so deep it seemed to breathe. A small stream wandered through, whispering secrets to whoever paused to listen. Monks came from across the land to study the art of garden tending here. They learned to rake gravel into patterns that suggested waves and wind. They learned to place stones in arrangements that invited contemplation and peace. They learned to prune branches in ways that revealed their essential nature. The master of this garden was an old monk named Sojun. He had cared for these grounds for over 40 years, since his youth. His hands were rough as bark, his back permanently curved from constant bending. Yet his eyes held a light that visitors never forgot, clear and warm. Students would ask him the secret to creating such profound beauty. Sojun would only smile and continue his work without answering. One autumn, a young monk arrived who was more persistent than most. His name was Kenji, and he had travelled 3 months to reach the monastery. He was determined to learn the secret of the garden before he left. Every day he followed Sojun through the winding paths, watching, questioning. "What makes you choose this stone over that one?" he would ask. "How do you know where to plant the maple and where the pine?" Sojun would pause, consider the question, then return to his work silently. Weeks passed. Kenji grew frustrated. Winter was approaching, and he had learned nothing. One morning, he confronted the master at the edge of the meditation pool. "Please," he said, his voice tight with desperation, "tell me your secret. I have watched you for months, and I still do not understand." Sojun set down his rake and looked at the young monk carefully. His eyes held no judgment, only a patient and boundless kindness. "Come," he said, the first word he had spoken directly in weeks. He led Kenji to a small clearing behind the main garden, hidden from view. This space was different from the rest of the carefully tended grounds. Here, weeds grew freely among the flowers. Fallen branches lay where they had fallen. The stream was choked with leaves, its voice muffled and unclear. Kenji looked around, confused. This was not beauty. This was neglect. "Why do you keep this place like this?" he asked, disappointment in his voice. Sojun knelt beside the cluttered stream and began to clear the leaves. As he worked, he finally began to speak in his slow, measured way. "When I was young, I believed that beauty was something I created. I thought my skill, my vision, my effort made the garden beautiful. I spent years perfecting my technique, controlling every element, every detail. The garden I created was admired by everyone who saw it, but I was never at peace. I was always worried, always striving. If a branch grew where I had not planned, I saw it as failure. If a stone shifted in the rain, I rushed to correct it. I was the master of the garden, but I was its prisoner too. Then one winter, I became very ill. For 3 months, I could not work. I lay in my room, certain that my garden was being destroyed without me. When spring came and I finally rose from my bed, I rushed outside. What I saw stopped me in my tracks, here in this very clearing. During my illness, this corner of the garden had been completely neglected. Weeds had sprouted, stones had tumbled, branches had fallen and rotted. By every measure I knew, it was ruined, a failure, an embarrassment. But as I stood looking at it, something unexpected happened within me. I saw that it was beautiful, more beautiful than anything I had ever created. The weeds had found their own perfect places to grow and bloom. The fallen branches had created shelter for moss and small creatures. The stream, though cluttered, had carved new channels through the debris. Life had continued without me, beauty had continued without my control. In that moment, I understood what I had been missing all those years. I was never the creator of beauty. I was only its witness. The garden does not need me to be beautiful. Beauty is its nature. My role is simply to participate, to collaborate, to get out of the way. Sojun finished clearing the stream and sat back on his heels, breathing slowly. He gestured at the clearing around them with its wild, untended growth. I keep this place to remind me, to teach students when they are ready. The secret of the garden is not technique. It is not skill or knowledge. The secret is surrender. The secret is trusting what already wants to grow. Kenji felt something crack open in his chest, some old wall falling. He had been so focused on learning, on acquiring, on becoming a master. He had forgotten that mastery was never the point at all. The point was to serve beauty, not to create or control it. The point was to listen to what the garden itself was asking for. He sank down beside the master, his eyes filling with unexpected tears. "Thank you," he whispered. "I understand now. I finally understand." Sojun placed a rough hand on the young monk's shoulder and smiled. "You will forget," he said gently, "and then you will remember again. That is also the way. That is also part of the garden." From that day forward, Kenji approached his work differently than before. He still learned technique. He still practiced the forms and methods of the art. But he held them lightly, like tools borrowed rather than possessions owned. He learned to listen before acting, to wait before deciding where to place a stone. He learned that patience was not passive, but the most active form of attention. Years later, he became the master of another garden in a distant province. Students came to him, asking the same questions he had once asked Sojun. He would smile and return to his work, knowing they would find the answer. Not because he gave it to them, but because it already lived within them. The garden teaches what it teaches. The student learns when ready to learn. This is the way of all true teaching. This is the way of all growth. Let this story settle into you now, like rain sinking into fertile soil. Perhaps you too have spent time trying to control what cannot be controlled. Perhaps you have exhausted yourself perfecting what was already perfect without you. This is not a criticism. This is simply the human way of learning. We grasp until our hands ache, then finally, mercifully, we let go. And in letting go, we discover that what we sought was always present. The beauty was always there. The peace was always there. The garden grows. We are not the creators of our lives. We are participants, collaborators, witnesses. When we stop trying to force our lives into predetermined shapes and plans, when we stop fighting against what is, demanding it become what we want, then something extraordinary becomes possible. Then the garden reveals its deeper beauty. This is not passivity. This is not giving up or ceasing to care. It is a different kind of action, one that flows with life rather than against. It is the action of the gardener who listens before he prunes. It is the action of the calligrapher who paints without seeing the paper. It is the action of the monks who rebuilt from ashes, trusting what remained. Peace is not something we create. It is what remains when we stop struggling. The breath continues in and out without any effort on your part. The heart beats its ancient rhythm, never asking permission or approval. The body knows how to rest. The mind knows how to quiet itself. Trust in this knowing. Trust in the wisdom that needs no instruction. If these teachings bring you peace, You are welcome to return whenever you wish. There will always be a quiet path waiting here, a gentle voice to guide you. But for now, simply rest. The garden of your being tends itself tonight. In a monastery high in the northern mountains, winter lasted for many months. Snow buried the buildings up to their eaves, sealing the monks inside. During these long, dark months, the monks had nothing to do but sit. They could not work in the gardens. They could not travel to town. They could only meditate, study, and wait for the spring to return. One winter, a new monk named Ryokan joined the community for the first time. He was young and full of energy, eager to prove his spiritual devotion. He sat in meditation for hours, refusing to move even when his legs screamed. He studied the sutras until his eyes burned and his mind grew foggy. He pushed himself harder than any monk the community had seen before. The other monks watched him with a mixture of concern and quiet amusement. They had all been young once. They had all believed effort was the answer. One evening, as a blizzard howled outside, Ryokan collapsed in the meditation hall. His body had simply refused to continue. His spirit had been pushed too far. The abbot, a very old woman named Mado, came to sit beside him. She placed a warm cloth on his forehead and waited for him to open his eyes. When he finally woke, his face was twisted with shame and frustration. "I have failed," he whispered. "I am not strong enough for this path." Mado smiled, her face a map of wrinkles earned through decades of practice. "Tell me," she said, "when you plant a seed, do you pull on it?" Ryokan blinked, confused by the question. "Of course not," he answered. "That would kill it. The seed must grow at its own pace." "And yet," Mado continued, "you have been pulling on yourself since you arrived, demanding that you grow faster, reach higher, become enlightened by sheer force. Do you think you are so different from a seed, so exempt from natural law?" Ryokan felt tears begin to form. He had not cried since childhood. "I only wanted to become worthy," he said, his voice cracking. "To prove myself." Maida reached out and took his hand in her small, weathered fingers. "Worthy of what?" she asked softly. "Prove yourself to whom?" These are the questions that trap us, that keep us running forever. There is nothing to prove. There is no one watching and judging. There is only this moment, this breath, this precious ordinary life. You are already exactly what you need to be. You have always been. The practice is not about becoming something other than what you are. It is about recognizing what you have always been beneath the striving. Ryokan lay in the dim light of the meditation hall, snow swirling outside. He felt something release in his chest, some knot that had been there for years. He realized he had been running all his life, chasing an impossible destination. He had believed that if he just tried hard enough, he would finally arrive. But there was nowhere to arrive. There was only here, only now. The destination had been with him all along, disguised as the journey. That night, he slept more deeply than he had in months, and when he woke in the morning, something subtle had changed within him. He still practiced. He still meditated and studied and sat in the cold hall. But there was no more striving in it, no more desperate grasping. He practiced because practice was beautiful, not because he was trying to get somewhere. He sat because sitting was its own reward, not because enlightenment waited at the end. The other monks noticed the change, though they said nothing about it. They simply nodded in recognition, remembering their own similar awakenings. Mado watched him from across the hall, a quiet smile on her ancient face. Years later, Ryokan would become a great teacher in his own right. Students would ask him how to attain enlightenment, how to find peace. He would only smile and offer them tea, watching the steam rise. "There is nothing to attain," he would say. "You are already home. The only thing left is to stop running and notice where you are." Let this teaching settle into the deepest parts of you now. You have been running for so long. You have been trying so hard, not just today, but perhaps for years, for decades, for your whole life. You have believed that if you just worked harder, tried more, did better, then finally, someday, you would be worthy. You would have arrived. But tonight, in this quiet darkness, you can let that belief rest. You can stop running, just for now, just for this one sweet moment. There is nowhere you need to get to. There is nothing you need to prove. You are already exactly where you belong, lying in the darkness, breathing. This moment is not a stepping stone to some better future moment. This moment is complete in itself, lacking nothing, needing no improvement. The peace you have been seeking has been here all along, waiting. It has been waiting beneath your striving, beneath your effort, beneath your fear. It is waiting now, patient and vast, for you to simply stop and notice. Peace is not something we create. It is what remains when we stop struggling. The night deepens around you, soft and dark and infinitely gentle. Somewhere a bell rings in a distant temple, its tone clear and pure. Or perhaps it is only your imagination, creating sounds to soothe itself. It does not matter, real or imagined, the bell calls you inward. It calls you to the quiet centre of your being where nothing stirs. The thoughts that have been circling your mind begin to slow their orbit. They drift further and further from the centre, becoming distant and unimportant. You do not need to chase them or push them away. Let them drift. They are like clouds crossing the vast sky of your awareness. The sky does not grip the clouds. It does not reject or cling to them. It simply allows them to pass, remaining empty and blue and infinite. You are that sky. You have always been that sky. The thoughts, the worries, the hopes and fears, these are only weather. They come and they go. They have no power to change the sky itself. Rest in this knowing. Rest in this vast, unchanging awareness. You do not need to do anything. You do not need to become anything. You are already complete. You are already at peace. You are already home. In the southern provinces, near a river that curved like a sleeping dragon, there lived a potter who was known for his imperfect bowls. Other potters in the region made vessels of flawless symmetry and glaze. Their work was displayed in noble houses and praised by visiting scholars. But this particular potter, a quiet man named Hideo, worked differently. Each of his bowls emerged from the kiln slightly uneven, uniquely shaped. Their glazes pooled in unexpected places, creating patterns no one could predict. Some people called his work crude, others dismissed it as unskilled. But a small number of collectors treasured his bowls above all others. They said that drinking tea from a Hideo bowl was a meditation itself. The slight unevenness fit the hands perfectly, as if made for each owner. The unexpected patterns in the glaze invited the eye to wander and rest. One day, a wealthy merchant travelled from the capital to meet the potter. He had heard of Hideo's reputation and wished to purchase his finest work. When he arrived at the small workshop by the river, he was surprised. The The building was humble, the equipment old, the potter dressed in simple cloth. "How can you create treasures in such poverty?" the merchant asked. Hideo smiled and invited the visitor to sit by the wheel. He began to shape a lump of clay, his hands moving in ancient rhythm. The merchant watched, expecting to see something special, some secret technique. But Hideo worked as any potter would, nothing unusual in his movements. When the bowl began to take shape, the merchant noticed something strange. Hideo was not trying to make it perfect, he was allowing it to be. When the wheel wobbled slightly, Hideo let the wobble enter the bowl. When the clay developed a small ridge, he did not smooth it away. He seemed to be listening to the clay, following rather than leading. The merchant found this approach bewildering. Where was the mastery, the control? "Why do you not correct these imperfections?" he asked, confused. Hideo paused, his hands resting lightly on the spinning wheel. "What you call imperfections," he said quietly, "I call the signature of life. A perfectly symmetrical bowl could be made by anyone, or even by machine, but this bowl, with its slight lean and unexpected ridge, could only exist now. It is the product of this clay, this day, this moment, these hands. To remove its uniqueness would be to make it less, not more." The merchant was silent, considering these words as the bowl took final shape. Hideo lifted it from the wheel and held it up to the afternoon light. "We spend so much effort trying to eliminate what makes us unique," he continued. "We compare ourselves to some ideal and find ourselves wanting. But the ideal is empty. It has no life, no breath, no story. It is the cracks and the wobbles that make us real and beautiful. The bowl that sits perfectly is admired. The bowl that sits slightly askew is loved." He set the bowl aside to dry and turned to face the merchant fully. "I do not make imperfect bowls because I lack skill," he said. "I make them because I have finally accepted my own imperfection, and in that acceptance, I discovered a beauty I had never known before." The merchant sat in silence for a long while, watching the river flow past. He had come expecting to purchase a bowl. Instead, he had received a teaching. He returned to the capital without buying anything, but he was not disappointed. He carried with him something more valuable than any ceramic could ever be. Years later, long after Hideo had passed and his workshop had crumbled, the merchant would tell his grandchildren about the potter by the river. Not about his bowls, which were famous by then, but about its wisdom. "The cracks are where the light enters," he would say. "The wobble is where the life lives. The imperfection is the signature. Do not try to be perfect, my children. Try to be genuinely yourselves. That is the only beauty that matters. That is the only art that lasts. Let this story settle into you now, like water finding its natural level. You too have spent time fighting against what you perceive as your imperfections. You too have wished you were smoother, more even, more like some distant ideal. But tonight, in the gentle darkness, you can let that fighting rest. Your wobbles and ridges are not mistakes. They are your signature. They are what make you uniquely yourself, unlike anyone who has ever lived. The universe didn't make an error when it made you as you are. It made exactly what it intended, exactly what was needed and right. Your task is not to correct yourself into someone else's image of perfection. Your task is to accept yourself so completely that your true beauty shines. This acceptance is not resignation or giving up on growth and change. It is a foundation a ground from which genuine growth becomes possible. When we stop fighting ourselves, we discover energy we never knew we had. When we stop trying to be perfect, we become free to be real. Peace is not something we create. It is what remains when we stop struggling. The breath rises and falls like the gentle rhythm of the potter's wheel. The body rests like clay before it is shaped, soft and open. The mind quiets like the surface of the river on a windless night. In the heart of a great forest, there grew an ancient oak tree. It had stood in that spot for over 500 years, witnessing centuries. Empires had risen and fallen. Wars had raged and subsided. Generations had passed, but the oak remained, its roots reaching deep into the dark earth. A travelling monk once stopped to rest beneath its spreading branches. He gazed up at the massive trunk, thick as 10 men standing together. "How have you survived so long?" he asked, though he expected no answer. To his amazement, the wind stirred, and the leaves seemed to whisper. "I do not resist the storm," the tree seemed to say. "I bend when I must. I hold firm when I can. I do not wish to be elsewhere or to be different than I am. I am rooted in this spot, and so this spot is my home." The monk considered these words for a long time as evening approached. He had spent his life travelling, seeking wisdom in distant places. He had climbed mountains and crossed deserts and studied with many teachers. Yet here was a wisdom he had not encountered, offered by a tree, to be rooted, to accept one's place, to stop the endless seeking. He looked at the oak's bark, scarred and weathered by 5 centuries. It bore the marks of every storm it had endured, every drought, every fire. These scars were not weaknesses, they were testimony to survival and strength. The monk reached out and touched the rough surface gently. "Thank you," he whispered, though he was not sure to whom he spoke. He spent the night beneath the oak, wrapped in his thin, travelling robe. And in the morning, something had changed in him, subtle but profound. He continued his travels, but he no longer sought wisdom outside himself. He had understood that the oak's teaching applied to him as well. He was not separate from life, searching for truth somewhere else. He was life itself, rooted in each moment, marked by each experience. The scars he carried were not signs of failure or weakness. They were the bark of his soul, built up through years of living. Every disappointment had strengthened him. Every loss had deepened his roots. He was exactly where he was supposed to be, exactly what he needed to be. The monk lived for many more years, teaching others what the oak had shown him. When students asked where they should travel to find enlightenment, he smiled. "Right where you stand," he would say. "That is the only place it has ever been. You are not incomplete. You are not broken. You are not far from home. You are home. You have always been home. The journey ends where it begins. Let this truth wash over you now, like rain washing over the oak's leaves. You have travelled so far in your life, seeking, searching, hoping to arrive. But tonight you can rest. Tonight the travelling can pause. You are exactly where you need to be. This bed is your oak tree. This moment is your 500 years of patient standing. Every scar you carry tells a story of survival and quiet strength. Every wound has added another ring to the trunk of your being. You are ancient in ways you do not realize, deep-rooted and enduring. The storms that have touched you have not destroyed you. You are still here. The droughts have not withered you. You are still breathing, still growing. Trust in your own resilience. Trust in the roots you have already grown. They reach further and hold tighter than you have ever given them credit for. Peace is not something we create. It is what remains when we stop struggling. The night grows deeper still, and your breathing has slowed to a whisper. The world outside continues its turning, but you are held in stillness. The thoughts that rise are not you. They are clouds crossing the sky of awareness. Watch them drift without attachment. Watch them pass without concern. You do not need to follow them. You do not need to push them away. Simply let them be and return your attention to the breath. The breath is your anchor, your oak tree, your home in the present moment. As long as you are breathing, you are exactly where you need to be. The past is gone, dissolved into memory like morning mist in sunlight. The future has not arrived, and when it does, it will be present. There is only now. There has only ever been now. This is not a philosophical concept. This is your lived experience. You have never actually lived in the past or the future. You have only ever lived in this moment, the eternal now. The mind creates the illusion of time, stringing moments together like beads. But each bead is only now. Each moment is only present. Rest in this presence. Let it hold you like water holds a floating leaf. You do not need to swim. You do not need to struggle to stay afloat. Simply float. Simply be. Simply let the moment carry you. In a temple known for its silence, there lived a young nun named Enko. She had taken her vows at age 17, full of idealism and devotion. She believed that through discipline and meditation, she would transcend all suffering. For 10 years, she practiced with fierce determination and unwavering focus. She followed every rule, observed every ritual, perfected every form of sitting. Yet peace eluded her. The more she practiced, the more she struggled. Her mind remained restless, her heart still vulnerable to hurt and longing. She began to despair, wondering if enlightenment was only a beautiful lie. One evening, she confessed her struggles to the temple's ancient abbess. The old woman listened without interrupting, her eyes soft with understanding. When Enko finished, the abbess reached out and took her hand. "Come with me," she said, and led Enko out into the garden. They walked in silence past carefully raked gravel and sculptured pines. The abbess stopped before a small pool where lotus flowers floated. "Tell me what you see," she said, gesturing at the water. Enko looked. She saw lotus blossoms, pink and white, perfectly open. "I see beautiful flowers," she answered, unsure what the abbess wanted. The abbess nodded. "And where do these beautiful flowers grow?" Enko looked more closely. The lotus stems disappeared into muddy water. Beneath the clarity of the pool surface was dark, clouded sediment. "They grow in the mud," Enko said slowly, beginning to understand. "Yes," the abbess replied. "They do not grow despite the mud. They grow because of it. The mud is their nourishment, their foundation. Without the mud, there could be no lotus. Without darkness, no flower." Enko stared at the lotus, her mind turning over this simple truth. "You have been trying to escape your mud," the abbess continued gently. "You have been trying to transcend your humanity, to leave behind the mess. But enlightenment is not escape. It is blooming exactly where you are. It is finding beauty not by denying darkness, but by growing through it. Your struggles, your restlessness, your vulnerable heart, these are not obstacles. They are the mud from which your lotus will eventually bloom. Stop fighting them. Stop trying to make them go away. Instead, grow your roots deep into them. Draw nourishment from your pain. Let your suffering become the foundation of your compassion for others. Let your darkness become the soil from which your light emerges. Enko felt something shift in her understanding, deep and fundamental. She had been at war with herself for 10 long years. She had believed that enlightenment meant becoming something other than human. But now she saw that it meant becoming fully, completely, compassionately human. It meant accepting every part of herself, the mud and the lotus both. That night, she sat in meditation for the first time without fighting. She let her thoughts arise without judgment. She let her feelings flow. She stopped trying to reach some distant goal and simply sat with herself. And in that simple sitting, without any effort or striving at all, something opened in her that had been closed since before she could remember. Not enlightenment as she had imagined it, dramatic and transformative and final, but a quiet peace that had been there all along, waiting to be noticed. She smiled in the darkness, tears rolling down her cheeks. The lotus had been blooming all along. She had simply been looking elsewhere. Let this story work its way into the depths of your tired heart. You too have been fighting against parts of yourself, trying to transcend. You too have believed that peace means becoming something other than what you are. But tonight, in this gentle darkness, you can let that belief rest. You do not need to escape your mud. You are not meant to. The struggles you carry are the very soil of your growth and awakening. The fears and doubts and wounds are not obstacles to peace. They are the raw material from which peace is fashioned, shaped, revealed. Every difficult thing you have experienced has added depth to your soul. Every tear you have shed has watered the roots of your compassion. You are not broken. You are not wrong. You are not too messy for peace. You are a lotus growing in the mud of human experience, and one day, in a way you cannot predict or control, you will bloom, you will open, you will share your beauty with the world. But even before that blooming, even now in the darkness of growth, you are already beautiful. The bud is no less precious than the flower. Peace is not something we create. It is what remains when we stop struggling. The breath continues its ancient rhythm, needing nothing from you. The body continues its quiet work of healing and restoration. The heart beats on, faithful companion, asking nothing in return. You are held by forces older and wiser than your conscious mind. You are supported by the earth beneath you, the air around you. You are part of a web of life that stretches back billions of years. Countless beings have lived and breathed before you, preparing this moment. Countless generations have worked and struggled and loved to bring you here. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You could never be alone. The same awareness that looks out from your eyes looks from all eyes. The same breath that fills your lungs fills every breathing being. We are all expressions of one vast, incomprehensible, beautiful mystery. Separation is an illusion, useful perhaps for daily life, but not the final truth. Tonight, in the intimacy of this darkness, you can rest in connection. You can feel yourself as part of the whole, not apart from it. The trees are your relatives. The stars are your ancestors. The rain is your sibling. Every stone, every stream, every creature that walks or swims or flies, all of it is you, and you are all of it, endlessly dancing. This is not mystical abstraction. This is the simple truth of existence. We are made of the same atoms that form mountains and clouds. We are woven from the same energy that fuels suns and flowers. We are patterns in the fabric of reality, temporary and precious and vast. Rest in this vastness. Let it cradle you like a mother cradles her child. You do not need to understand it. You do not need to believe it. Simply rest in the possibility that you are far more than you imagine. Simply rest in the embrace of this night, this breath, this moment. In a hermitage at the edge of a bamboo forest, there lived a wise teacher. He was not famous. He had written no books. He had founded no school. But those who found their way to his small hut always left changed. His teaching was not in his words, though he spoke when speech was needed. His teaching was in his presence, in the quality of attention he offered. When you sat with him, you felt truly seen for the first time, not judged, not evaluated, not measured against any standard, simply seen, simply met, simply welcomed exactly as you were. One evening, a troubled student arrived at the hermitage unannounced. She had travelled for many days, her heart heavy with a burden. The teacher invited her in and made tea, saying nothing. They sat in silence as the evening light faded into darkness. Finally, the student could bear the silence no longer. "I have done terrible things," she blurted out, tears streaming down her face. "I have hurt people I love. I have made choices I deeply regret. I am consumed by guilt. I cannot forgive myself. How can I find peace?" The teacher set down his tea and looked at her with infinite kindness. "Tell me about the person who did these things," he said quietly. The student was confused. "It was me," she answered. "I did them." "Yes," the teacher nodded. "And are you the same person now?" The student paused, unsure how to answer. "I have the same name, the same body, the same memories. But are you the same person?" The teacher repeated. "Or have you changed?" The student considered this. She thought about who she was when she had made those choices. She had been younger, more afraid, less aware, struggling with different circumstances. "I suppose I have changed," she admitted slowly. "I would not make those choices now." The teacher smiled gently. "So the person who did those things no longer exists, and the person sitting before me now did not do them. Why do you insist on punishing yourself for the actions of a ghost?" The student felt something crack open in her chest, some old wall crumbling. "But I still carry the memory," she said. "The damage is still done." "Yes," the teacher agreed. "The consequences remain. That is karma, cause and effect. But the guilt, the self-punishment, the refusal to forgive, that is optional. It serves no one. It heals nothing. It only adds suffering to suffering. The person who made those choices did the best she could with what she knew. She was afraid. She was confused. She was doing what she thought was necessary. Can you have compassion for her? Can you understand why she did what she did? Not approve of it. Not pretend it was right. Just understand." The student sat with this invitation for a long time. She thought about her younger self, the circumstances, the pressures, the fears. She began to see that person not as a villain, but as a struggling being. Someone doing their best in difficult circumstances, making painful mistakes. Someone worthy of compassion, not because they had done right, but because they had suffered. Slowly, tentatively, she allowed herself to extend kindness to her past self. It felt strange at first, like reaching out to a stranger, but as she continued, she felt a weight begin to lift from her shoulders. The guilt did not disappear entirely, The regret remained, but beneath them a new feeling began to emerge, warm and expansive. Forgiveness, not absolution, not forgetting, but a release of the war against herself. The teacher watched her transformation with quiet satisfaction. "You cannot change the past," he said softly, "but you can change your relationship to it. You can carry it as a burden or as a teacher. The choice is yours. Every mistake contains a lesson. Every wound contains a gift. When we stop fighting our history, it becomes wisdom instead of weight." The student stayed with the teacher for 3 more days. When she left, she was not free of her past. That was not the point. But she was free of the prison she had built around it. She was free to live in the present, informed by the past, but not imprisoned. She was free to become whoever she needed to become next. Let this teaching settle into the places where you hold old guilt. Let it touch the wounds you have inflicted on yourself through unforgiveness. You too have made mistakes. You too have hurt people you love. You too have choices in your past that you wish you could unmake. This is part of being human. This is the mud from which the lotus grows. You do not need to carry that guilt forever like a stone around your neck. You can set it down, just for tonight, just for this one moment. Not because your actions were right, not because the consequences do not matter, but because the person who made those choices did the best they could. They were afraid, they were confused, they were struggling to survive. They deserve your compassion, your understanding, your gentle forgiveness, and you are allowed to give it to them. You are allowed to let go. Peace is not something we create. It is what remains when we stop struggling. The breath moves through you, carrying away tension with each exhale. The body releases its grip on old stories, old judgments, old pain. The heart opens just a little to the possibility of self-compassion. You do not have to be perfect to be worthy of peace. You do not have to have a spotless past to rest in the present. You are already forgiven by life itself, which continues to breathe you. You are already accepted by existence, which holds you this very moment. The only forgiveness left is the one you give yourself, and you can give it, slowly, gently, in your own time and way. For now, simply rest, simply breathe, simply let the night hold you. There was once a musician who played a single-stringed instrument. For decades she had performed in courts and temples across the land. Her music had moved thousands to tears, to joy, to profound stillness. But as she grew older, her fingers stiffened with age. The notes that once flowed effortlessly now came with struggle and pain. She began to make mistakes in her performances, small but noticeable. The audiences who had once praised her now whispered their disappointment. Young musicians rose to take her place, their fingers quick and sure. The old musician retreated to a small hut on the outskirts of a village. She hung her instrument on the wall and did not touch it for months. Her identity had been built on her music. Without it, who was she? The loss felt like a death, like the ending of everything she had been. One night, unable to sleep, she took down her instrument and held it. She did not intend to play. She just wanted to feel its familiar weight. But her fingers, almost without her willing it, found the string. She played a single note, wobbly and uncertain, then let it fade. The silence that followed was different from the silence before. It was not empty. It was full, somehow, pregnant with meaning. She played another note, just as imperfect, and listened to its dying. then another and another, each one imperfect, each one complete. She was not performing for anyone. She was not trying to recreate her past glory. She was simply making sounds in the darkness, listening to their arising and passing. And in that listening, she discovered something she had never known before. The beauty of music was not in the perfection of the notes, it was in the silence between them, in their impermanence, in their passing. Each note arose from silence and returned to silence, just as each life arose from the void and would return to the void. The music was not diminished by its ending, it was defined by it. Her imperfect notes were no less beautiful than her youthful perfection. In some ways, they were more beautiful, carrying the weight of a lifetime. She played through the night, alone in her hut, tears streaming down her face. Not tears of grief this time, but tears of gratitude and release. She had spent her life trying to hold on to beauty, to preserve her gift. But beauty was never meant to be held. It was meant to flow. The gift was not hers to keep. It was hers to give and release. When morning came, she hung the instrument back on the wall, but now she knew she would play again. Not to be a great musician, not to recapture the past or prove herself to anyone, but simply to make sounds in the darkness, to participate in the mystery, to add her voice, however imperfect, to the great symphony of existence. Years later, when she finally passed, village children remembered her playing, not the famous performances of her youth, which they had never heard, but the strange, beautiful sounds that drifted from her hut some nights, imperfect sounds, wobbly sounds, sounds that somehow touched their hearts. They did not know the story. They did not need to. The music spoke its own truth, beyond words, beyond explanation. Let this story settle into whatever place in you fears losing your gifts, whatever ability you have treasured, whatever role has defined your identity. These things are not who you are. They are expressions of who you are. When they change or fade, as all things must, you will still remain, not diminished, not less than, simply transformed into something new. The old musician did not stop being a musician when her fingers stiffened. She became a different kind of musician, making a different kind of music. The form changed, the essence remained, the expression evolved. This is the nature of all things. This is the dance of impermanence. We grasp and cling and fear the ending. But endings are also beginnings. The note that fades makes room for the next note to sound. The leaf that falls makes room for the new bud in spring. The self that you have been makes room for the self you are becoming. Trust in this endless transformation. Trust in your own becoming. You are not a fixed thing that can be broken or lost. You are a flowing thing, a becoming thing, an evolving thing. What feels like ending is only changing. What feels like death is only transformation. Peace is not something we create. It is what remains when we stop struggling. The night surrounds you now, deep and dark and utterly still. Your body has found its rest, settle like sand at the bottom of a pool. Your mind has slowed its spinning, thoughts drifting further and further apart. You are approaching the threshold of sleep, that mysterious doorway. In a moment, you will cross over into the realm of dreams. The conscious mind will release its grip, and the deeper self will emerge. What waits for you there, no one can say. It is your journey alone, but you go with all the blessings of those who have walked before you. You go with the wisdom of the blind calligrapher who painted without seeing. You go with the teaching of the temple cat, who saved what could not burn. You go with the understanding of the gardener, who learned to let beauty grow. You go with the patience of the oak, rooted deep through every storm. You go with the acceptance of the potter who loved the imperfect bowl. You go with the compassion of the nun who found her lotus in the mud. You go with the forgiveness of the student who released her war against herself. You go with the surrender of the musician who played to please no one. These teachings are now part of you. They live in your cells and breath. They will continue their work while you sleep, reshaping you from within. When you wake, you may not remember the stories or the words, but something will have shifted, something subtle but real. You will face your day with a little more peace, a little more acceptance. You will hold your struggles a little more gently, your gifts a little more lightly. You will know in some deep place beyond words that all is well, not because nothing is wrong, not because life is easy or fair, but because you are part of a whole that is vast beyond imagining, and that whole is endlessly creative, endlessly loving, endlessly at peace. The candle that has been burning through this long story is flickering now. Its light wavers, dances, casts moving shadows on the walls. Soon it will go out, and darkness will be complete. This is not a tragedy. This is simply the nature of candles. They give their light while they can, then they return to what they were. Wax and wick and flame, all of it temporary, all of it beautiful. You too are a candle, burning brightly for a time. Your light touches others in ways you may never know. Your warmth makes the darkness a little less cold for those around you. This is your gift, your purpose, your quiet contribution to the whole. You do not need to burn forever. That is not what candles do. You only need to burn fully, completely, giving all the light you have. And when the time comes to flicker and fade, you can do so with grace, knowing that you have served, that you have shone, that you have loved. But that time is not tonight. Tonight is for rest, for renewal, for dreaming. Tomorrow the light will return, and you will rise to meet it. For now, let the candle do its flickering. Let the shadows dance their dance. Let the night wrap around you like a mother wrapping her child in blankets. You are safe. You are held. You are loved beyond measure. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to figure out, nothing more to worry about, plan for, prepare against. The night is here. The breath moves on its own, and all is well. In the stillness between your heartbeats, peace waits patiently. In the silence between your thoughts, awareness rests in itself. In the space between the worlds of waking and sleeping, you float, not here, not there, not anywhere you can name or locate, simply present, simply being, simply allowed to be exactly what you are. This is the great gift of sleep, the nightly reminder that you do not need to do anything to exist, to be worthy, to be. Being happens on its own. Life lives itself through you. You are not the doer. You are the witness. You are the space in which it all unfolds. Rest now in that space. Let it expand and deepen and grow quiet. The words have done their work. They can fade now into memory. What remains is what was always here, beneath and beyond all words. Peace, stillness, the simple fact of being alive in this moment. You do not need to hold on to anything. It will all be there when you wake. The world will continue. Your life will continue. The sun will rise. But for now, for these few precious hours, you can let it all go. You can surrender to the darkness, to the softness, to the great rest. The body knows how to sleep. Trust it. Let it do what it knows. The mind knows how to quiet itself. Trust it. Let it find its own stillness. You are in good hands, held by forces older and wiser than any thought. The same intelligence that beats your heart will watch over you tonight. The same awareness that has kept you alive all these years continues its vigil. You do not need to stay alert. You do not need to protect yourself. Sleep is not a vulnerability. It is a return to your deepest strength. In sleep, the body heals, the mind integrates, the spirit renews itself. In sleep, you touch something infinite, something beyond ordinary understanding. Dreams may come, images and feelings from the depths of your being. Let them come. They are messages from yourself to yourself. You do not need to interpret them tonight. They will unfold their meaning in time. Simply let them be, as you let everything be tonight. The resistance is gone. The struggle is over. The war is done. There is nothing left but peace, spreading through you like warm water. Feel it in your hands, your feet, your belly, your chest. Feel it in your face, your jaw, your forehead, your eyes. Every cell is releasing its tension. Every muscle is letting go. The breath has become so soft you can barely notice it. It breathes you rather than being breathed by you. In and out, in and out. Ancient rhythm, eternal tide. You are part of this tide now, rising and falling with it. You are the ocean, not just the wave. You are the whole, not just the part. This is the truth that awaits you in the depths of sleep. This is the remembering that happens when all the forgetting is let go. You are not small. You are not limited. You are not alone. You are vast. You are connected. You are home. Sleep now. Dream now. Rest now in the arms of the night. The morning will come when it comes. There is no need to call for it. The waking will happen when it happens. There is no need to resist sleep. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should, in its own time and way. You are part of that unfolding, not separate from it. You are a necessary note in the great symphony, sounding when it is time. Your rest tonight is as important as any action you will ever take. Without it, you could not continue. Without it, there would be no tomorrow. So rest now, knowing that this rest is your contribution. This letting go is your gift to the world that needs you. This surrender is the foundation of all the strength you will need. Peace is not something we create. It is what remains when we stop struggling. And here, at the edge of sleep, all struggle has finally ceased. There is only this breath, only this moment, only this infinite now. The thoughts that rise are like the last bubbles from a stone dropped in a pond. They rise, they break the surface, and then there is stillness. Let them rise, let them break. Let the stillness that follows deepen. You are sinking now, gently into the warm darkness. Not falling, but being lowered, carefully, tenderly, by invisible hands. The surface of waking life grows more distant with each breath. Its concerns are still there, waiting for tomorrow, but they cannot reach you here. Down you sink, into the depths where memory and dream begin to merge. Down you sink, into the place where the mind finally stops its spinning. Down you sink, into the silence that underlies all sound. This is your birthright, this rest. This is your inheritance, this peace. You have earned it simply by being alive, simply by making it through another day. No matter what that day held, no matter how it went, this rest was waiting for you, as it waits every night, faithful, patient, unconditional, always here when you're ready to receive. So receive it now. Take it in like breath. Let it fill every empty space. There is no shortage of rest. There is no limit to peace. You can have as much as you need. You can take as deep as you want. The night is generous. The darkness is kind. The silence is welcoming. And you belong here in this deep place as much as anywhere you have ever been. More than anywhere, perhaps. This is your true home. Not any building or city or country. Not any role or relationship or identity. But this stillness, this presence, this simple being. Everything else is visiting. Everything else is temporary accommodation. But this place you touch in sleep, this is where you truly live. One day you will return here permanently when this life has run its course. There is nothing to fear in that. It is simply coming home. The candle does not fear the darkness. It has always been darkness, taking temporary form. The wave does not fear the ocean. It has always been ocean, playing at being separate. You do not need to fear your true nature. You have always been it. But that is teaching for another time, another story, another night. For now, simply rest in the preview of that deeper peace. The peace that passes understanding, as the ancient texts describe it, not because it cannot be understood, but because it precedes understanding. It is more basic than thought, more fundamental than any concept. It is the ground on which all thinking stands, unrecognized and silent. You are touching that ground now. You are sinking into that foundation. Let it support you. Let it hold you. Let it receive you completely. There is nothing more to do. The doing is done. There is nothing more to think. The thinking is quiet. There is nothing more to feel. The feeling has settled into stillness. Only being remains. Only awareness remains. Only peace remains. And you are that being. You are that awareness. You are that peace. Not temporarily, not partially, not metaphorically, actually, completely, always. This is the secret the stories have been pointing to all along. Not something to achieve or attain or become, but something to recognize, to remember, to simply notice and allow. You are already what you have been seeking. You have always been. The search can end now. The seeking can rest. You have found it, or rather it has found you, here in the darkness. Congratulations are not in order. There is nothing to celebrate or announce. This is ordinary. This is natural. This is how it has always been. The extraordinary thing is only that you have finally stopped to notice, that you have finally allowed yourself to rest deeply enough to see. And now that you have seen, you cannot unsee. Even when the morning comes and the busy mind returns, something in you will remember this peace, this depth, this truth. It will be there in the background, quiet but present. A foundation beneath all the surfaces of daily life. A stillness beneath all the noise and movement. A home beneath all the travelling and seeking. Whenever you need it, it will be here. Whenever you return, it will welcome you. This is the promise of the night to the day. This is the gift of sleep to waking life. This is the blessing of darkness to the one who knows how to receive. The breath continues, ever more subtle, ever more quiet. The body has become so relaxed it barely seems like yours anymore. The boundaries between you and the bed, you and the air, you and the darkness, they have blurred and softened and begun to dissolve. You are melting into the night like ice melting into warm water. You are spreading out into the darkness like ripples across a still pond. You are no longer contained by your skin, your name, your story. You are becoming something larger, something that has no edges or limits. This is not frightening. This is liberation. This is what you have always been. The small self that worried and struggled is a tiny part of this vastness. It floats in you like a leaf, floats on the surface of a great lake. Let it float. Let it rest. Let it be what it is. No more, no less. It has done its work for today. It has navigated the challenges. It has survived. Now it can rest while the deeper self takes over. The deeper self that does not sleep, that does not rest, that does not need to. The deeper self that is always awake, always aware, always at peace. You are that deeper self, even as you are also the tired surface self. Both are true, both are you, both belong to this moment. Sleep does not remove you from yourself. It returns you to yourself, to the larger self that the busy day makes you forget, to the boundless self that has no problems to solve, no goals to achieve, to the peaceful self that is content simply to be. Rest now in that contentment. Let it pervade you completely. There is nowhere else to go. There is nothing else to do. This is it. This is all there has ever been. This moment. And this moment is perfect, exactly as it is. Not because nothing is wrong, not because life is easy, but because this moment is real, and the real is always whole. Whatever is happening is what is supposed to be happening. However you feel is how you are supposed to feel. You cannot get this moment wrong. There is no wrong way to be here. Simply being here is enough. Simply breathing is enough. Simply resting is enough. You are enough. You have always been enough. You will always be enough. This is the truth that sleeps within every lie you have believed about yourself. Every voice that told you that you were not good enough, strong enough, worthy enough. Those voices were confused. They did not know what you truly are. But here in the darkness, the truth can finally be heard. You are a miraculous expression of the universe experiencing itself. You are consciousness in form, awareness embodied, love made visible. You are a gift to existence, not a burden upon it. You are wanted, needed, essential to the whole, exactly as you are. These are not just pretty words. These are facts, as solid as stones. The universe has been working for billions of years to create you. Stars have exploded, elements have formed, life has evolved, all of it leading to this moment, this breath, this being that is you. You are not an accident. You are not a mistake. You are not extra. You are a necessary part of the great unfolding, playing your unique role. And that role is simply to be yourself, fully, completely, unapologetically. Not to be someone else, not to fit some mould, not to meet some standard, just to be you, in all your messy, beautiful, struggling, glorious humanness. That is enough. That has always been enough. That will always be enough. Rest now in this sufficiency. Let it heal all the wounds of insufficiency. You are enough. You are enough. You are enough. The words fade into the darkness, but their truth remains. It remains in your cells, in your bones, in your very being. It will continue working while you sleep, healing and restoring. When you wake, you will not be the same person who lay down tonight. Something will have shifted, something will have healed, something will have grown. This is the miracle of rest, the magic of surrender. When we stop trying to be someone, we become who we actually are. When we stop fighting what is, we discover what has always been. Peace, wholeness, completion, the simple joy of existence. These are your inheritance. These are your birthright. These are your truth. No one can take them from you. No circumstance can steal them away. They are built into the fabric of what you are. They are as indestructible as awareness itself, as eternal as consciousness. Rest now in that eternity. Float now in that infinity. The night continues its slow turning. The stars make their ancient journey. The planet spins on its axis, carrying you through darkness toward light. But here in your bed, in your room, in this moment, all is still. Time has slowed to nothing. Space has shrunk to here. There is only this, only now, only you, only peace. The breath barely moves. The heart beats slow and steady. The mind has fallen silent, empty of all content and concern. You are at the threshold now, the very edge of sleep. One more step and you will cross over completely. Do not hesitate. Do not look back. There is nothing to fear ahead. Only rest. Only dreams. Only the deep repair of sleep. The crossing happens not through effort, but through release. Simply let go. Let go of even the desire for sleep. Let go of these words. Let go of this voice. Let go of everything. Fall into the void that is not empty but infinitely full. The void that is the source of all creation, all love, all life. You came from there. You return there every night. It is your origin and home. Go now. Go gently. Go with all the blessings of this hour. The stories have been told. The teachings have been shared. What remains is beyond words, beyond stories, beyond teaching. What remains is silence. What remains is peace. What remains is you. Deep within you, where no light reaches and no sound penetrates, there is a stillness that has never been disturbed. It was still before you were born. It will be still after you die. It is still now, as it has always been, as it will always be. This stillness is not yours. You are this stillness. Rest now in what you are. Sleep now as who you truly are. The night holds you. The darkness cradles you. The silence embraces you. And all is well. All has always been well. All will always be well. Not because nothing is wrong, but because what is right goes deeper. The wrongness is surface. The well-being is foundation. The problems are weather. The peace is sky. Nothing that happens can change what you fundamentally are. Nothing that has happened has ever changed it. You have been through storms and stood firm. You have been through fires and not been burned. You have been through losses and remained whole. This is not because you are special. This is because you are. Being is unbreakable. Existence is indestructible. Awareness is eternal. And you are being. You are existence. You are awareness. Knowing this or not knowing it makes no difference to the truth. But knowing it brings peace. Not knowing it brings suffering. Tonight, in this knowing, in this remembering, rest deeply. Let the knowing sink in. Let the truth take root. When you wake, you may have forgotten. The busy mind may return, but something will remain. Something subtle but real. A sense of peace beneath the noise. A feeling of home beneath the wandering. A knowing that everything is okay, even when it doesn't seem to be. This is the gift of this night. This is the fruit of this rest. It will grow slowly, invisibly, transforming you from within, until one day, perhaps without even noticing it, you will be at peace. Not temporary peace that comes and goes with circumstance, but permanent peace, the peace of knowing who and what you are. That day may be far away. It may be tomorrow. It doesn't matter. What matters is this moment. What matters is this breath. What matters is this rest. Everything else will take care of itself. Everything else will unfold as it must. Your only task is to be here, now, resting, breathing, being. You are doing that perfectly. You are doing that completely. There is nothing more to add. There is nothing more to say. The voice that has guided you through the night grows soft now. It fades like a whisper, fading into wind. It becomes part of the darkness, part of the silence, part of you. You carry it within you now. You do not need to hear it anymore. The teaching is complete. The journey is done. The rest has begun. Peace is not something we create. It is what remains when we stop struggling. And here, in this final stillness, all struggling has ceased. There is only breath, only heartbeat, only being, only peace, only now, only this. And this is enough. This is everything. This is home. The night is here. The breath moves on its own. And all is well. Rest now. Sleep now. Dream now. You are safe. You are held. You are loved. Let go. Let go. Let go. And as the candle burns low, the world continues, quietly, without you needing to do a thing.